Good morning. Good to have you. Um, Start in a comfortable place. It's kind of how I like to start these things. Either on your bottom or on your back. Spend a few moments. The way I like to start the thing is just notice the places where you can feel some sensation in the body, whether it's contact from the outside world or just something a little queer in there this morning. I find the physical layer is the easiest one for me to make contact with, the most obvious. I'm going to sort of use it as an inroad to connect a little deeper to some of the other layers that I may discover as I explore. I think it's a little easier to do in the morning. We haven't had the whole day to get ourselves worked up about this or that or the other thing. Body still kind of has the memory of sleep in it. Still remembers, oh yeah, relax a little bit. Once you get yourself, well, at least partly sorted out, take control of your breath. Step one, breathe through your nose. Step two, build breaths up. Bigger inhales, bigger exhales. Just a little at a time. Day-to-day tension, just sort of the nature of a body. You get kind of tight here across the chest, maybe here across the abdomen as well. When you start filling up with inhales, feel that stretching happen. Pops that resistance across the chest. And as it builds up a little more and breathe down into your belly, you break some resistance there too. So let's take a moment or two. I'm going to try and stifle myself and be silent. Two things to do. Thing number one, breathe slowly, breathe deeply, and a little bit longer inhales, a little bit longer exhales. Thing number two, get familiar with what's going on in you today, where the sensations are, whether they're physical or a little more in here or something between the two. Okay, I was going to stifle me. If you chose something other than seated as your starting pose, you'll start to work yourself up to a seat. Take your time. And if you're already seated, we'll check in that you haven't kind of slumped into the thing and rounded over and collapsed. Shoulders down, chest forward, chin up, maybe head back just a little bit. We're gonna do a bit of a sort of a gentle wake up for the spine here for the introduction. Let's see. Step number 1, lift your arms, look between your hands. Try to kind of engage the muscles along the side of the body here to lift yourself up. Not arching the back per se, just keeping the spine longer. If your arms aren't straight up, that'll be fine. If your chin doesn't go up as high as you think, maybe someday it could. It's early. Let's let it warm up and stretch out a little bit. A couple of breaths here to get a little vigorous, some energy going, put the body on notice. It's time to wake up and do some work. And we're going to turn this into a simple side bend, right hand down, left arm reaches up and over. Try not to slump down and collapse into it. Keep the spine long and off to the side it goes. Some of you are going to be able to get down onto your forearm. Some of you are not. Try to keep this hip over here rooted, not rolling up onto the side, but staying in the sit bones. And maybe a little extra reach with the left hand. Maybe look up, left elbow, left shoulder back to broaden across the chest a little there. Now make 2 great big breaths. Reach with the inhale. And try to sink into the side bend a little more when you exhale. 1 more. Let's see how it goes on the other side. Inhale, arms up, look up, find a breath, lift. Inhale up, and then we're going to take it to the other side. Left hand down. Should come as no surprise. It's the same thing on the other side, but you may find that this side's a little stiffer, a little tighter, or perhaps the exact opposite. Same fundamentals. This hip stays rooted. This elbow, maybe a little further. This arm, this one up here, reaching up and over, extending, reaching, stretching through the side and compressing through this one. Try gazing up, pull your elbow and your shoulder back a little and reach a little more. 2 breaths, you count yours, and I just stick with mine. Extend with the inhale, settle into the exhale. Let's try another one. Back up to seated. Inhale the arms up, look between the hands, take a breath, lift, work at it some. Then we're going to twist. Left hand to right knee, right hand goes back behind you, or maybe all the way around your back and onto your left thigh. The idea is to sit up tall, look back over your right shoulder. Inhale as we get a little more length, lift the top of the head. Exhale, we try and twist just a little further. Maybe put your eyes over into the corner, that counts. Couple of big breaths. A little more twist into that last exhale. And then back to the middle. Going to take the arms up with an inhale. Look up. Inhale, exhale. And then 1 more inhale to lift. And we're going to take that twist to the other side. So right hand across the left knee. Left hand goes back behind you, either on the floor behind your hip, or maybe yours swings all the way across. Sets it, kind of put it in your right pocket. Anyway, sit up tall. Long spine with your inhale. Look back a little further with your exhale. Work on lengthening the spine, the neck. I guess that's part of the spine. Anyway, Put your eyes in the corner. That does count. Yeah, stretch your eyeball muscles out a little bit. One more. Biggest inhale, biggest exhale. And then come back to the center. Inhale takes the arms up, and we look up. And a breath there. Lifting with the inhale, shoulders down with the exhale. One more inhale, up. And then hands behind, both hands behind the back, palms down, fingers forward. We're going to put some weight into the hands and lift the chest. Make a little back bend. Chin up. Lift with the chin. Lift right here along the top of the chest. Up. Maybe forward just a little. Squeeze your shoulders together on your back. If your neck's okay with it, you can kind of let your head hang back, fall back. If you want a little extra oomph, you can lift the hips, add a little extra arch to the spine. Biggest inhale, biggest exhale. Lift a little more with the inhale. And then exhale, lower yourself back down onto your bottom, assuming yours ever came up. We're going to rise back up to seated and inhale the arms up. Look up between, reach. One more inhale, get up there. And then exhale, come forward with the hands, either slowly or you just want to get yours down to the floor. We're going to work into folding forward here, belly toward the heels or the ankles, chest toward the floor. I'm using my fingers to creep forward and draw myself just a little further forward, but at the same time trying to keep the hip bones on the floor so I'm not rolling up onto my knees. You do what you can with yours. 2 more great big breaths. Walk your hands back, or however the heck they get back. Bring yourself back up to seated, a little like we were just a few moments ago. Breathe deep. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Bow your chin. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice this morning, here's an opportunity to do so. If you haven't already. And then let's get a little more, mobile about it. Make tabletop toes, hands and knees, palms down, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. I assume you've done something like it before. Start with a little side-to-side movement. Hips to the right, look over the left shoulder, kind of spot your heel back there. Take a couple of breaths at it like we did in those warm-up poses. Just so you can, where you feel it, what you think you could do a little more of, what's going to become a problem if it keeps going. One more big inhale, big exhale. Oh, got my timing wrong. It's inhale that brings us back into center. And then we're going to go the other way. Hips to the left, chin back over the right shoulder. Spot your feet back there. Let's make a few breaths on this side. Get used to what this feels like. See what we can find different on this side than the other. If you can't breathe, you've gone too far. You got one more breath. And then back into the center, back to tabletop. Let's make cow pose. Inhale, lift your chin, sag your belly, tailbone up. Couple of breaths. See what this one turns into. The shoulders hunch up around the ears. Relax the belly. Try and lift the nose a little higher when you inhale. Maybe the tailbone. Take one more inhale to lift just a little more. Big breath. And then exhale, we're going to make cat pose. Chin under, tail under, draw the belly in and arch the back. Push the floor with your hands. Reach the chin back toward the chest, the nose toward the belly button, and the belly button toward the spine. Tail tuck. Deep breath. Back to tabletop, back to neutral like we started. And then somewhere between those couple of things we just did, the side to side and cats and cows, we're going to have a few moments to kind of do a little bit of your own warm up here. Maybe inhale cat, exhale cow. Maybe you do kind of combine the two and sway the hips, cat and cow at the same time. But a little bit of movement back and forth. Up and down, side to side. See if you can connect your moving, your breathing. Inhales tend to lift us, tend to lengthen. Exhales tend to be a little shortening, a little constricting, a little folding in. So try to get a little fluidity into the body. A little easy, graceful movement. Something that feels sort of liquidy. Flowy, if you will. Anyway, that's probably about enough of that. When you've had enough of yours, and by all means, take a couple more breaths if you need to even something out. Well, let's meet in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes, arms long, sink back and down. Couple of big breaths. Work yourself back up to tabletop. We're going to bring the left foot forward, just up there between the hands, however the heck yours gets there. So hands surround the foot. That's what foot between the hands means. You can, couple little alignment deals here. You can move this right knee around if you want once you figure out what we're doing. And in this kneeling version, in a lot of postures, we advise you not to get your knee out ahead of your ankle. In this one, it'll be fine. What I'm going to encourage you to do is just rock back and forth a little bit. Feel where the stretches happen. Chances are, and again, move your knee if you need to. Chances are when you come forward, you get a stretch here in the front of the right thigh, top of the or bottom of the hip in there somewhere. And when you go back, you get a little half splits kind of thing, so some stretch in the hamstring. Sort of flow back and forth between those two a little bit. If you want to linger in one spot or another, you're really working into this psoas stretch here, then maybe you spend a couple of breaths here, even bounce a little bit, or if you're working on a hamstring thing, you stay back here in half splits and tend to bounce that a few times. Maybe you're getting a little fancier with yours. Couple of times through. That's probably plenty of that noise. All right. If your right knee traveled, now probably gonna want to pull it back up underneath you a little bit, but you can leave it back there. I probably should have told you where we're going. That would have helped. We're gonna make dragonfly. Right hand to the floor and take the left arm up. Look up at it. Try and get your thumb above your nose, not extending back behind though. Big breaths. They kind of help with twisting. Reach the top of the head away from the tailbone when you inhale. And see if you can't draw the left shoulder back further when you exhale. One more breath of that. Let's bring the left hand down inside the foot. So I'm looking at left foot, left hand in the middle, and then right hand. Again, you can move your right knee some if you want. Let's do a little bit of forward and back. That must be Donna's phone. Anyway, a little forward and backwards there. And if you like, anytime you want, you can bend into your elbows and turn this into a little more of an intense stretch here on this hip as we get the knee back towards or behind the shoulder. Should come as no surprise to you that it gets a little more intense to be there. Couple of deep breaths at whatever you're doing, either that sort of rocking forward and back thing, or maybe you've settled into one for a couple of breaths. All right. Straighten the elbows, put your hands underneath to support the chest. We're going to keep the left hand on the floor there inside the foot and reach the right hand up. Look up at that thumb. And like we did on the other side, try to get your nose or your thumb. Yeah, you're trying to get your nose above your thumb. Well, your left thumb. Put your right thumb just above your nose, not overextending. Just to the side there, lift up. Inhale, get length, top of the head away from the tailbone. Exhale to twist a little further, trying to draw this right shoulder around a little more. Take a big breath. And then right hand's going to come down. We're going to step this left foot back finally and get back to tabletop. And if you want to shake it off a little bit, you can. I'm going to bring the right foot forward. See if I can remember what we did on the other side. So let's see. I think first we started with just a little rocking forward and back. After some discussion about how you could move your knee, how it was okay for the right knee to extend out over the right ankle in this one. You'll stretch the front of this thigh. This is the tough one. Maybe the back of this one. Again, if you want to settle into one of those for a moment or two, let it do its magic. Go right ahead. If you find a spot that needs a little extra attention, you go right ahead and give it. But just for another breath or so. And then we'll come back to something a little more like neutral. I'm going to move my left hip up, or left knee up under my hip some. Let's see. Left hand stays on the floor. Right hand goes up. Again, that thumb above the nose deal. Lengthen with the inhale. A little more twist with the exhale. Maybe left shoulder, this one on the bottom, toward the right knee a little bit. That's the idea. Another breath. Reach the right hand up. And then exhale, right hand down inside foot. Looking at left hand, right hand in the middle, right foot on the outer edge. Again, it's the forward and backward business. Or
Anytime you're ready, bend into the elbows. Starting to work the right knee towards or maybe even behind the right shoulder a little. Big hip stretch. Give yours some big breath. Hands back underneath the shoulders. Even though I didn't mention you could come down onto your elbows or your forearms, you may have figured it out. We're going to keep the right hand on the floor and inhale the left hand up. And look up at that one. Thumb above the nose. Get around their ribs. Reach with the arm, extend through the neck, maybe dip into the hips a little. Couple of breaths, work into the twist on this side. And then let's call it. Bring your left hand down. Step your right knee back. Hopefully you end up back in tabletop. That's what I'm going for. Shake that off a little bit, some cat, some cow or something. And then finally, downward facing dog. Curl your toes under, hips back to heels, and then up toward the ceiling. I'm going to walk it out a little bit. Help yourself do a little of that. Odds are your first downward dog of the day. So like we started class, kind of be aware of what's going on with your body in this posture, where it's working you. Breathe deep. One more big breath. Inhale, gaze forward, come onto your toes. And take a couple of breaths to walk, however you get your feet up between your hands. And then we're going to come halfway up. Hands to the shins. Look forward. Think low back flat, shoulders back, chin up, belly in. One more inhale to lift your nose and lengthen. And then exhale. Fold over your legs. We'll let the back side of you stretch out for a moment or two. It's pretty good. First Uttanasana of the day, so take your time with it. Feel where it feels. Do what it'll do. Breathe deep through your nose. One more breath. Great big inhale, great big exhale. Inhale, we rise. Arms up. Look up between the hands. Let's hold there for a moment or two. You kind of work your way into standing a little bit better, whatever that might mean for you. Belly in, tail tucked, knees soft, thighs engaged, shoulders down, arms up, chin up. Big breath. One more. Gonna bring the hands together and draw them down in front of the heart. A standing pose.
All right, let's have a little vinyasa. Get us a little flow and work some energy in the body. Inhale, arms go up, gaze between your hands. Exhale, twist to the right, T, arms, right back, left forward, thumbs up, open the hands and spread your fingers. While you're reaching back with the right hand, try to keep the hips pointed toward the front of the mat. They naturally want to twist a little this way. If you can keep them square, you get a little extra twist out of the deal, and you get to work some of the obliques in the abdomen as well. Inhale, center, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, twist left. Left arm back, right arm forward. Thumb up. Again, this hip wants to travel around behind me. I'm trying to keep it pointed forward. Get what I can get. Stand a little taller. Inhale up. Exhale, twist a little more. And that next inhale, both arms go up, gaze goes between the hands. We're going to exhale, fold in half. Hands to the shins, look forward halfway up on the inhale. And then plant your hands, step your feet back. Let's go knees down first time. But plank it out a little. If you can bring the hips forward, here's what I mean. Between, this is sort of half tabletop pose. Come forward with the hips. Get a nice, but at least what feels to you like a flat line between the shoulders and the backs of the knees. When your abs start engaging, that's usually a pretty good sign that you've got your hips in just about the right spot, because all of a sudden your belly has to start holding you up there. Gaze forward. Keep your shoulders back away from your ears, and try not to let them kind of collapse and slump that way. Chin up, make an inhale. All right, when you exhale, we're going to bend the elbows, try and lower slow. And then upward dog, straighten your arms, look up. A couple of breaths at this one too and see how it works. If your back's okay with it, you can press into the tops of your feet, lifting your thighs up. If not, leave the thighs on the floor. You don't even have to have your elbows straight. But you do have to lift your nose and make one more inhale. And then exhale back into downward dog. Toes under, hips up and back. Deep breaths. My plan is to maybe do a couple of these sun salutations on your own. When you get to downward dog, this is your place to rest. Somewhere between 3 and 5 breaths. And if downward dog isn't a very resting place to you, putting your knees down might help with that. And after you've rested, all right, I'm going to do a little faster this time. Inhale, we bring the gaze forward, the feet forward, half lift, hands to the shins. Exhale, you'll fold in deep. Inhale, we rise. Arms go up, palms come together. Samastitihi. Inhale up. Exhale, twist to the right. Mind your hip. Inhale up. Exhale, twist to the left. Stem the arm. Inhale up, lift out, and exhale, fold in. Halfway up on your inhale. And then get ready for your low push-up, feet back, knees up or down, chin up. It's an exhale that lowers us. And then an upward dog on the inhale, and downward on the exhale. Make about 5 breaths in downward dog. And then do something like that, a couple, 2, 3 times on your own. You can linger in a posture that seems particularly linger-worthy for you today. You can add in, you can take away, have a little fun with it. It's not critical that you get every posture in the same order I did. Or that you get your moving and your breathing, was that an inhale or an exhale? Not critical. But keep breathing, that's important. And move. And warm up a little bit.
at a pace that seems right for you. If you got one more in you, one more time through. If you feel like that's about enough of that for today, next time you get downward dog, take child's pose, or really anytime you want. Again, not critical that child's pose follow downward dog. There's no magical connection there or anything. All this talking. Anyway, my point was, we're going to meet in child's pose. And when you get there, I'm going to stall a little bit just in case you're still taking that sun salutation another time through. Anyway, when you get to child's pose, a little bit of back where we started. Aware of the body, feeling where it feels and how it feels, what it feels. I don't know, maybe why it feels. What's the other why or W question I'm missing there? How, what, anyway. There I go, stalling. Breathe deeply. Child's pose is a great posture to feel how inhale versus exhale affects the body. How we expand and stretch with the inhales. How we soften and sink on the exhales. All right, bring yourself back up to tabletop. Those hands and knees thing there. And what time is it? Oh, we got a little time. Turn yourself sideways on your mat. Kind of tabletop still, but off to the side. You want your knees right there at what's now the front edge of the mat. And then, like we do tabletop, toes point back, but hands are sideways. And by the way, if the space you're in won't really allow you to do that, it'll work out fine if you don't turn sideways. Just gonna make this a little easier. First thing we're gonna do is kind of child's pose. Make your knees wide. Keep your big toes together. Make your knees a little bit wider than you might normally do. And if the toes don't touch, that'll be fine. And then just sit the heels or the hips back toward the heels, but we're gonna try and keep the chest vertical. Maybe you can sit on your sort of hero's pose. Belly in, breathe. And if you can make your knees a little bit wider, work into that some more, you may. But the idea is not to go as far as you can go and kill yourself with it or anything. It's a place where you can tell it's changed. It's a little uncomfortable. I'm getting a little pressure out in my knees. You may be as well. Sit and breathe a moment or two. Arms up if you don't have enough work to do here just sitting. Gaze up because it helps to open the chest and lift. Allows the inhales to flow a little more deeply.
your hands went up, bring those back down. Okay, we're gonna need to leave the knees out wide like that. Back up to sort of on the hands. Now we're gonna take the heels about the same width as the knees. Point your toes out to the sides. And if you can see mine, I suspect you can. Yeah, they're pointed out to the side. And then, careful now, you're not gonna go as far as we went last time. But we're gonna start to sink the hips back just a little bit. And it doesn't take very long before you start to feel the pressure in the hip bones. Clearly something's wrong here. No, it's just how bodies work. You can't do both of them at the same time with the legs this way, at least most of us can. I mean, if you can sit all the way down onto your bottom and lift your arms up, you go right ahead. I imagine most of you went about, I don't know, halfway back and then went, oh, hello. Again, don't kill yourself with it. This is Manduka Asana, frog pose. It's a hard one. If it seems to you like you should, I don't know, make your knees a little bit wider or wiggle something around a little bit, you can, but don't bring your heels in. Keep them out at least the width of your knees. That's kind of the magic of how this thing works. Pretty sure it's the toes pointed out that's really the secret to the whole thing. Last couple of breaths. And that'll be enough of that. Make your way back out of that. It might take a moment as parts of you may have settled into that a bit. So going to keep the knees out wide, the heels wide, the toes pointed outward, hands forward so they're right underneath the shoulders. And make a couple of cats and cows here. Inhale to lift your chin, sag your belly, and try and lift your tailbone. And then, pardon me, exhale, go the other way. Make cat, chin under, draw the belly button in, tailbone down. And a couple of back and forths in that. Working into the tight spots in the hips, at least we are in mine. Something pops pretty much every time I do one of these, so we're going to do one more. Oh, there it was again. Somebody in my left hip is not thrilled about this. All right, make cow, chin up, sag the belly. Make cat, chin under, and then, well, this is at least how it works for my body. What we're gonna do is lift our hips and our knees up and end up in a wide-legged forward fold. For me, if I walk my hands back a little bit and then kind of cow pose to draw my chin down and my belly up and in, and use that to lift my hips right up and then push the hips back, and well, presto, I'm in that wide-legged forward fold. Gonna walk the hands back and spend a few breaths just there. So you want your feet parallel with one another with the short edges of the mat, assuming you turn sideways like I am. You're gonna walk your hands back to the extent that yours will do that. If you need to prop yours up, or if yours don't reach the floor, then clearly you won't. But if your hands can get down there, if you can use them, maybe even on the legs, to have a little traction and draw yourself under. Well, there you go. Another piece of this that I found important is to lengthen with the inhales. Think top of the head and reaching, whatever that is, forward or down toward the top of the mat. And if you can get a long ways into this one, you can actually put the top of your head on the mat there, just between the feet, and kind of push the top of your head into the floor to encourage the spine to lengthen and the hip bones to lift. Or so I'm given to understand. And by the way, if you really want to, if we were in the classroom, I'd have everybody get their block and set it down there, because when your head gets something to actually push against, it makes a huge difference in this thing. Anyway, make some deep breath. Draw under on the exhales. Try to get a little bit longer in the spine on the inhales.
And then that's probably enough of that. Take the tension off. Bring your hands back to forward, sort of underneath the shoulders. We're coming kind of halfway up. We're going to take the left hand across either to the right foot or into that neighborhood, and then the right hand up to the ceiling. Look up at the right hand. Try to put your thumb up above your nose. Now try to point your nose up at your thumb. Use the left arm as traction and twist you in a little deeper. Keep the knees straight, the hips lifting. Oh, and if you can fold in a little deeper, maybe put your forearm on the floor. Lengthen with the inhale, a little bit more twist into the exhale. Then we'll switch sides. You bring the right hand down, walk it across toward the left side. Left hand goes up, that's an inhale. Thumb above the nose points toward thumb. Knees straight, hips up, and if you can fold in, fold in. Breathe deep. Work on yours. Exhale, bring yourself back down. Again, sort of hands underneath the shoulders to support you. I'm going to try and get into gate pose from here. Let's see how that goes. We're going to keep the right leg straight, but bend the left knee. Get that down on the floor. And then sort of underneath the hip. And that wasn't too terrible a transition. And presto, gate pose. Standing on the left knee, extending the right. Foot is still sort of parallel with the short edge of the mat, although mine really wants to turn out. That's a naughty foot. You do as you're told. Tilt the hips under, stand tall. Inhale, take your arms up. Lift out of the waist. Push with the right foot. One more inhale to lift the chest. And then let's try a side bend. Right arm down, left arm up and over. Gaze up. Pull the left shoulder back. Big breath. And one more of them. Inhale, arms up. Let's do it the other way. Let's do it to the other side. Bring your left hand down. T-arms, right hand up toward the ceiling. Couple of breaths. How about right arm out overhead? Push with the right foot, reach with the right hand. Extend on your inhale. And inhale to rise back up standing. Both hands down to the floor. How about you kick the left foot out, back up to the wide-legged thing. Walk the hands back, fold in, take a breath or two. And then let's see if we can manage that transition on the other side. So I'm going to bend my right knee, slide that foot back a little bit. So I end up standing on the right knee, left leg out to the side, and there we go, up into gate pose. Hands to hips, tucked in, pay attention to what your foot's doing. This side seems to be working out a lot better than the other one was. Inhale the arms up and lift out of your waist. Breathe, breathe, breathe. One more inhale, get up there. And then the side bend, left arm down and right arm up and over. Right shoulder draws back. Inhale to lift up, exhale to take it over a little further. Next time you inhale, T-arms, not arms up like I did last time. And then take that T-arm off to the right. Right hand down, left hand up, look up at your thumb. Keep your gaze up. Extend your left arm, bringing the upper arm closer to your nose. Push with the left foot,
Reach with the left hand. Stretch through the side body a little bit longer on the inhale. One more big breath in there. Inhale, rise back up. You know what? Let's take the easy way out of this. Bring your hands down, bring your knee back under you, and then turn yourself back around forward, because I don't know how the heck I was going to get you out of that thing. Cross your ankles, roll back over your heels, and extend your legs out in front of you. And then I'm going to suggest hands to kind of pull the flesh out from underneath you, or if you were paying attention to what I did, I kind of walked my heels down the mat a little bit, which accomplishes, for me, the same thing. If you can sit up tall, sit up tall. You need your hands back behind you because this isn't working so well, then that's where you put them. Anjali Mudra. Or Hasta Padasana. No. Look up. Reach up. Again, unless you need your hands on the floor to hold you up there. The idea is to engage the core just a little bit here. So the belly is kind of pulling you forward just a little. And at the same time, it's also helping to lift the chest up. So that's kind of what its job is. Anyway, inhale, lift out of the waist, get long, and then exhale, come forward. It might take you a couple of breaths to get forward, or you might be more than ready to just kind of melt over your legs. Chin up for a couple of breaths if yours is okay with that. Reach forward with the tip of your nose. Come forward with your belly button, but back with your tailbone. Engage the thighs, push the backs of the knees down. Couple of deep breaths. Rise up to seated. Bend your right knee. Put the sole of your foot on the floor so your knee points up to the ceiling. Take your right arm up. That's an inhale. And back behind you. No, it's not. And back behind you. I suppose that's an exhale if I'm doing that. Inhale, left arm up. And then exhale, we twist. Left arm crosses right knee if yours will do that. And right knee. And chin goes back over right shoulder. I was trying to figure out how to say your right chin. But turns out you only have one of those. This leg, active, toe up, push the back of your knee down. Some of you are going to be able to activate so much that your heel lifts off the floor. But everybody's trying to sit up, get their belly up over their thigh, and use the arm against the leg to twist themselves around a little further. Try to put less weight into the right hand, that one back behind you, as if you were going to pick your hand up and maybe bring it across, some of that sort of thing. Take 2 breaths wherever you got to. And then unwind and come out of that thing. Let's make Janu Sirsasana, your right knee out to the side, sole of the right foot along the inside of the left. Ground your right knee, thigh, and hip to the extensors. We'll manage that. And left leg again, active, thigh, knee down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, fold forward. Keep your chin up for a couple of breaths. And anytime you're ready, you can round your neck. Breathe deeply. That's enough of that one. Come on up with an inhale. Bring your right knee up too. Extend your right leg out. Let's bend the left. Sole of the foot on the floor so the knee points up.
Left hand goes back behind you. Right arm goes up. That's an inhale. Lift. And then twist. Right arm across. Left knee. Left chin back onto your shoulder. Right leg active. Toe up. Push the back of your knee into the floor. Elbow against the left knee to twist us around a little more. Trying to lift up and out with the inhales. A little more twist into the exhales. Oh, and if you can figure out how to put less weight into your left hand, you can do that as well. But breathe. Slowly and deeply, like nothing's going on. You do this all the time. Unwind, come through center. Janu Sirsasana was next. Knee to the side, sole of the foot along the inside of the right. Round the knee, the thigh, the hip. Right leg active. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, belly toward the thigh, gaze toward the toes for at least a couple of breaths. And work at yours in the way that yours will work. That seems like about enough of that. You'll come back up to seated. Let's make Baddha Konasana, the soles of the feet together. Heels relatively close to you. Show you a little thing here. You want your spine straight here. You can sit vertically. For years I was grabbing my toes this way, but you can see it kind of rounds the shoulders forward. Gets me kind of curving in. We don't want curved in. We want seated tall. So either toes or maybe grab the front of your shins instead. Allow yourself to sit tall and be vertical. If you can push your heels together a little bit, you might be able to make your knees a little bit wider. Oh, and if you don't need your hands to hold on, you could take your arms up. And that might take care of some of that rounding thing. And maybe gaze up, breathe. So you can stay in a lifted version, either arms up or, you had enough of that. Stay vertical. Just work on relaxing the inner thighs, getting the knees out a little wider, feeling what the heck's going on in this general vicinity right here. Or what I assume you're going to do is take an inhale to sit up and an exhale to come forward and bring your belly towards your heels and your chest towards your toes. Chin up for a little bit there. By gazing forward, we signal to the body that we're moving forward. And so it tends to lift and extend a little further, while if we were to round the chin and point the nose down, then the body interprets that as, oh, we're going down into the thing. And believe me, forward is the direction you want to go in this. Down will take care of itself. If you could bring your belly button forward, other than making your knees wider, you'd pretty much be. Don't strain, don't struggle, but find an uncomfortable place and breathe there for a couple of more breaths. Bring yourself back up to seated. Yeah, we got a little time. Bring your knees together, soles of your feet on the floor. Let's see, feet together, bring the knees together, bring your hands back behind, palms down, fingertips point forward. And you go as far as you can manage it with this one. First thing, we lean back and then come forward a little bit. And what you're trying to feel is down here at the bottom of you, here, back on the tailbone, hip bones have left the floor. The sit bones back here have left the floor. When I come forward far enough, oh, there's those sit bones and the tailbone. So we get like a little triangle and then back onto the tailbone. And just like I said, get the feel for it a couple of times. Find the spot where the hip bones touch the floor. Eventually, that's where you're going to try and stick. Right there, just where the hip bones touch, tailbone still down. And you can breathe a little better. Did I mention take this as far as you want to take it? Next step is to pull the knees into the chest and pick the feet up. All of a sudden, that turns into a bunch of work. And if that seems to be working out pretty well, stay on those sit bones. You can start to extend your legs forward, chest up, round, don't slump back onto the tail. And if you don't need your hands, then they come forward. We make Tavasana, or some variation thereof. It's supposed to be a hard one, so I don't know about yours, but mine always seems to have a little tremble in it. Breathe. That always helps. 2 more breaths. Then we're going to put the feet on the floor. Pull your heels in close. Wrap your arms around your shins. Big inhale, sit up tall, lengthen. And then exhale, put your nose between your knees, round in. Curl yourself up into a little ball. And breathe deep into your back body. Until your breath, try to lengthen your spine. Take 1 more breath there, maybe 2. And then back to boat pose, back to Navasana, or some variation thereof. And you count about 5 breaths in both. Mind those sit bones. And then onto your back. Rest for a breath or 2. Fake Shavasana though, don't get too comfortable, at least not yet. We're gonna leave that, we're gonna extend the legs out in case I wasn't clear on that. Shake yourself into the mat a little bit. We're gonna leave the left leg out there, bring the right knee into the chest, hands go around. Exhale, pull the knee in close. Inhale, let it out a little bit so you can get a proper breath. And then exhale, hug it in close. And just a couple of those. Inhale out. Exhale, bring it in. Bigger breath, 1 more. Okay, you're gonna take the first 2 fingers on the right hand. See if you can get your big toe. And sort of happy baby, half of happy baby, we point the sole of the right foot up to the ceiling. We're pulling the knee down either into the armpit or just outside. If your toe's not enough, you can grab the outer edge of your foot and go further into it that way. This leg, left leg, is active. We're trying to get the back of that knee to get down onto the floor, although it may or may not be capable of doing that. So make sure you're breathing deep. And then the supine version of Utthita Hasta Payusasana. Hold on to your big toe and extend your right leg out to the extent that yours will go. And if yours gets up there and you can get your knees straight, well then pull your right shoulder back down onto the floor. Maybe start to bend your right elbow. Pull your toes up over your head to some degree. Deep breath. 2 more of them. Bend your right knee, pull it back into the chest, and then extend the right leg out. Set it down out there with the left and shake it out a little bit. Let's do the other side. Left knee comes in, hands around the front of the shin. Exhale, squeeze it in a little closer. Inhale, let your knee out. So you got room to draw a nice big breath in there. And then exhale, push the breath out of you. Pull that knee in. Couple of times. One more. And then half of Happy Baby was the next thing we did. 2 fingers on the left hand to get your big toe. Point the sole of your foot at the ceiling. Or grab the outer edge of your foot if you want to be a show off about it. We're trying to pull the left knee here either outside the shoulder or depending on where your arm ends up. Yours could come sort of in toward the inner shoulder or the armpit. Kind of like mine out here, but I seem to have quite a bit of room in this one. Right leg is active, back of the knee is trying to get down to the floor, but damn, the floor got so low all of a sudden. Breathe deep. And then Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana C, get a hold of your big toe with your first 2 fingers and extend the left leg. And again, if yours gets straight, draw your shoulder back down, bend your elbow, pull your toes up over your head. Clearly mine won't be demonstrating that. Deep breath. I think that's about one more breath, And then you'll exhale the knee back in toward the chest and extend that leg out onto the floor. Shake it out a little bit. Take your heels out to the corners of your mat. Bring your toes in so your big toes touch, and then let them fall out. And then bring them in so they touch and let them fall out. And a couple of those at your own pace, kind of shake them out a little bit. Take your arms out to your side. Take them out kind of T arms a little bit maybe, and then bring them in toward the waist, and then back out toward T, and then somewhere in between, right next to the waist and out in T, there's kind of a comfortable spot. Put them there. So your shoulders can relax and your arms don't have to necessarily do anything. If you can point your palms at the ceiling, that'll be a little better. Take a great big inhale through your nose. Fill yourself all the way up to the top. Really fill up like it's important. Fill, fill, fill. And then open your mouth. Sigh out your exhale and let go. You can let go of controlling your breath. You can let go of managing your body. Just let it be heavy. I think I talked about sleeping earlier. It's a little bit like that. And then try and let your mind be relaxed as well. Just a few moments to take a little vacation from the day-to-day thoughts, from the constant circling of the monkey mind. Rest everything you can. Confident that it'll be there when you come back. No worries. You got this. Well, unless you're taking extended Shavasana, it's time to start coming back into yourself. Start slow. Just notice. Body's, yep, still there. Let me see. Oh, yeah, the limbs are all still there, the digits. Breath, yeah, still there. Let's make sure the body's there. Move one little bit at a time. And warm the thing back up. Reintroduce moving. Maybe a good morning stretch. Bring your arms up overhead, your legs together. Point your toes, reach your fingers. Great big inhale through the nose. Audible exhale through the mouth. And if you want more of that, help yourself to a little more. Before too long, we're going to meet seated, a little bit like we started. I like to think just a little bit better than when we started. Sit easy, but not schlumpy. Breathe easy. Don't worry about controlling it or making it deeper or down into your belly or any of that. Just let your breath be natural. Let it be automatic. Let it be a thing that you don't need to worry about that. Body's got you. You're all right. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Bow your chin. And end your practice this morning in gratitude. That I just said gave me pause for gratitude. The things the body does automatically, there's a source of gratitude. That I don't have to think about digestion, grateful. That I don't have to think about every breath, grateful. That I don't have to think about every muscle that moves when I balance or when I walk or when I, grateful. Lift your chin, lift your heart, let your light shine. The light in me, I see the light in you, and my light comes to yours.
Thank you for joining me. Namaste.